Let's watch Toy Man's movie.
Chapter.
Yeah, at least he put chapters in it.
This is about toys, dude, and this is.
Oh, that's right. Torture Genius Films. I love that. Not at all.
What's this about? Him?
Yeah, it's just all about.
Oh, this is so
narcissistic
action. Yes, because nobody.
It's a documentary.
Gives a shit, but nobody gives a shit about his toy. So, like, how can he even be like? You know what I'm saying?
What's up?
What's up?
Hey.
Just in time for the feature film.
For SAS soldier turned toy.
Nice. What is he chasing his children?
My name is Tony Roberts, and I'm a former soldier of the British Army's 21st
He's
Special
chasing his Siamese
I also
wife.
spent 4 years of my life working as a private security contractor in Iraq for the United States.
Executing Iraqis.
When I was a child, I was captured.
Does he have pictures of that though? Because that was stock footage.
And these figures are directly
okay. But that's in Australia.
To pursue a career in the military, and now at the age of 45.
Yes, this is G.I. Joe's origin story.
Action Force toy line, and I'm wondering how I came full circle.
Okay, there he is.
Yeah, he was in Iraq.
Child.
He's in South Africa.
In the British
yeah, that's just an Indian guy.
Now becoming one of those toys that I coveted so much. How did I get from there to here?
Leave Tony alone.
Story, the real truth, the real desert rat.
This is Analog Toys. He's just a toy channel, like a retro toy channel. We've watched some of his videos before because he could be kind of lolsy. But this is a documentary that he made about himself. About
is he going to tell us what really happened?
And he has a toy. That's his toy. He has a toy released. Make a toy. I committed war crimes. Make a toy out of me. Well, that's exactly what they did. It's not the worst figure either for like being a toy based on a YouTuber. It's like, look at all those hands. They got the switchable hands and shit.
Entry film is proudly brought
to have
the brand
like the strangling hands, you know, to put around.
Pick up your own highly detailed Desert Rat action figure by visiting the Valorverse.com website, where you'll also find scores of other elite Action Force figures, accessories.
Was he right next to Cobra Commander?
Links are in the description below. Shop Valorverse, because it's time for action.
Oh, here we go.
I grew up on the south coast of England, not far from Brighton. Childhood was good.
Ate me beans every morning.
We didn't have a lot, but we never went without, and that was my world. And I really thought that, you know, most people in England lived the way we did. You know, I would say we were working class, but it was a good childhood.
Like a maniac.
Lots of fond memories of growing up on the south coast of England. The first toys that ever really made a big impact.
Nice.
Oh, Grayskull, dude. I wonder if he had the attachment,
similar to the one that's on the
they sold separately afterwards.
We
had it, but we never knew how to attach
it. My house with my dad,
because we were retarded, and we didn't understand how those toys worked, and they were mostly broken when we had them.
Uniformed.
They're worth a small fortune though if they were still around.
Toy version of a human in a uniform with a rifle, and I think he had a British beret. And I was captivated, and I'm
That's not how you say it.
Holding this thing in my hand.
Well, that's how a moron says it, like them.
I look up.
I mean, I don't dislike British people. I think British people are fine.
I do. I'm going on record as saying I very much dislike.
He's Australian though.
Well,
no, he's born in the South Coast.
He lives in Australia.
England.
Oh, okay. I thought
it
was
like 3
Australian.
times.
I thought he said he was Australian SAS though. In a different video.
Well, I think he probably has Australian citizenship.
Dad, and I look at this toy, and I look at him, and I'm like, "What's this?"
Could just be committing stolen valor
he
too.
Begins to explain, you know, what the army is and what soldiers are and what they're all about.
No, I'm not making that allegation.
Holding this thing in my hands, I looked at my dad and I went, I'm going to be a soldier one day. And for a lot of
From looking at a toy,
that could have been a very, a passing comment where next
that's a
week you
big
wanna be
decision.
Thomas the Tank Engine or Spider-Man or Hulk Hogan or whatever.
I want to be a garbage truck driver.
My dad will tell you that he remembers that day very clearly that I said that to him because
Bobby's
it never
life
went away.
Nice.
Much like a firefighter or a policeman, a soldier is a real world hero and something that I could aspire to in
Not always.
It stuck with me.
It's a very gray area, actually. Probably one of
11,
about as
my
gray as you
family
can get.
emigrated from the United Kingdom to
Oh,
Australia.
you're right. Here we
And
go.
initially, that was great. So my sister thought she was going to live in Ramsay Street with Kylie Minogue, and I thought I was going to go hunt crocodiles with Mick Dundee. And the reality was quite
I thought that was his
different.
sister,
The first
but I
couple
don't
of
think
years
so.
in Australia were quite good, but then I got to a point where
If it was him and his sister, it's kind
I
of weird.
was left to my own devices quite often because my mum and dad were out working all the time, and all of a sudden
We're out pubbing.
I learned that I could, not turn up to school. I could, play hooky from school. Through that idle time, I started to, I suppose, hang with the wrong crowd. I started drinking alcohol at 14.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Smoking weed around the same age.
Who does that?
School,
Nah,
there were-
my opinion
there were
of him
two
is
subjects
just
I really enjoyed, one of
increased.
which was orienteering and cross-country running because it had that. I could see the benefit in that,
Yeah.
and it would later come to me wanting to get into the army. Orienteering taught me how to read maps and use a compass. Science and calculus.
How to kill a
I don't
child.
give a crap about. As I got a little bit older, I started.
We
to
used to
learn
go out and
just
hunt
laughed.
and
abos.
it was like this thing
Yep.
you could do part.
We'd hunt abo for sport. So many
Yeah.
of them, and they
But-
don't report crime.
Because back then, they were still considered fauna.
That became.
Yeah.
I was very, very passionate about.
They were the
army
same
cadets,
thing
and
as a
those
kangaroo,
guys became my
basically.
friends. And I think I really drifted through most of my high school.
Caught in a really
not
bad crowd on
having
Xbox
any close
Live.
Friends at school, all my mates were army cadets.
They were saying the N word
I'd be playing
all the
football
time.
from school.
Yeah.
I might be stealing a few coins here and there to buy cigarettes, smoke cigarettes, or drink a bit of alcohol. And I
What a wild
Monday
guy.
to Friday, there's kind of no
It'd be
direction.
funny if like 2/3 of the
I
documentary
remember
is
the
talking about
night
him.
before, I
just,
would
you know,
always be like snap out of it now. You need to iron
Stealing
your
quarters
boots, you
for
need to polish
fucking
your boots.
cigarettes.
Getting there 45 minutes early, making sure everything was ready to go. Well, they called it a drill night. It would start with a parade. As my high school years progressed, I ended up becoming one of the sergeants of the company there. So I would be standing out the front, and I would make them.
Is that
company
a
on parade,
Kekistani
everyone
flag?
would march out to my orders.
That'd be funny.
And there was just something about that kind of discipline that just appealed to me. So then, my
Hey,
high school years
Brenda.
came to an end, and as soon as I was old enough, I'm joining the army.
Are you waking up
Doing
from
the
a nap
aptitude
again?
Test. They said that I had the aptitude to go and become an officer or something like that. I wasn't.
Or a toyman.
I wanted to go general enlistment. I wanted to be in the infantry.
Collector.
There was
Oh,
only
yeah, I
a
wanted
platoon
to
of
be a
around
collector.
40 guys I went through recruit training with, and we
I enrolled as a collector.
to go to artillery or engineers. So I went to the engineers. I spent the next 3 years of my life pushing.
I studied
wheelbarrows
five-figure
around, building
articulation.
air force bases, it wasn't
5 points of articulation. I studied
Army
7 points of
kind of
articulation.
thing that I had dreamed about my whole life. And you need to understand that I was someone who, since the age of 4, who is now 21, so for 18 years, 17, 18 years, all I'd ever wanted to be was a career soldier. And I ended up leaving the army after 4 years of literally pushing. I didn't even wear a real
various
uniform in
reasons.
the army. The job that I did with the engineers, I used to wear khaki shorts and a short sleeve shirt and work boots.
Man, look at
Like,
the
I
look at the
didn't
army in
even
the
wear a
outback.
camouflage uniform the last 2 years I was in. So I'd become very disheartened, and I'm not blaming the army for that. It's just
I'm blaming the army for
just
that.
how the chips fell for me. But I returned to civilian life in my early 20s with really no direction, and it became very easy for me to
Quite a mad
descend
lad.
into more and more drug use, and I started taking a lot of ecstasy on weekends, which progressed.
And that's when I went to Thailand.
And the next few years were,
That's when I discovered T-Gales.
were a dark time in my life.
Yep.
having aspirations of things
The
like joining the
dark
special
continent for him was
forces
Thailand.
within a family that was very much like, oh, you'll never achieve that. And I think that is part of what spurred on this dark side in me, that I wanted to challenge the status quo.
Kill me, mom and
within
dad.
my current existence, and the family that I had grown up around, and do well in school, get a half decent job, enough money to provide for your family, and you're a success. I didn't see it that way.
Does he own
And
a
I
portion of
really
the Action
resented
Force
those
company,
kind of
do you think?
comments in the family? So, but at the time,
I don't know.
Probably.
alternative.
He definitely
Style,
has
I
very
spiraled
close
into,
relations with them. If they
drug
made
abuse, some petty criminality.
Yeah, a toy of him.
Got into some debt to some.
I don't know if
the
they
wrong
thought they
people,
could
and
promote him.
Action Force was like the British GI Joe.
been threatened physically.
It was like
times, and I
rebranded.
was
So
like, what am I going to do? And I'd already.
but I don't know if
I had already started
don't
to
know.
think about leaving the country to get out of the cycle that I was in. I decided to,
Thailand,
I suppose,
Thailand.
flip the script, and I ripped off some pretty serious people for about $20,000, shared it with a friend of mine, and left the country.
Yeah, some toys. I stole some vintage Star Wars kind of action figures
Really know what that
and
life was gonna be.
$20,000
You
worth
know,
of GI Joes.
Backpack and a plane ticket to Barcelona at the time, but
Barcelona. Guys, should
Yeah.
he be saying all this
Again,
stuff?
He's like, I had a backpack full of toys and a plane ticket to Barcelona.
Backpack of Lego, just looked very
Yeah.
Legos.
Yeah.
Broken legs.
Yeah, I had a backpack full of vintage Lego. I was on top of the world.
Get away.
I was gonna go to Spain, and I was gonna build the monorail Lego.
Fund the transformation at the same
$1,500. Might actually be more than that.
Bod. He's getting there. This is like 52 minutes,
With a
dude.
good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And initially,
Actually, how far are we? We'll get it.
awesome. Didn't have a lot of money, but backpacking.
All right, we'll get to like 20 minutes and then
lifestyle,
stop
and
there.
Trying to find work along the way, and really
This
struggling.
would be like the Matt Roloff interrogation
So, of
tapes.
course, if
Yeah,
you-
we'll have
if
to
you're
go back to
backpacker
it a
who
few
wants
times,
to work in Spain, you need to go.
I wonder if this guy is into Funko Pops. Probably not.
No, he
No,
strikes. He probably thinks they're
Vehemently against them.
wicked faggy, dude. I
And got some bar work,
Which is
there,
based
enjoyed working
Tony
at the bar.
for
I worked for a Danish guy for a while.
keeping it real.
Things were great for
Old toys,
I wanna say a few
old
months.
junk only.
Me and my friend were staying in a backpackers hostel. Over the months that we had worked in this town and stayed in this backpacker,
Be funny if
hostel, we'd
there's
seen a lot of other
unknowingly,
backpackers
or there's
come
just a
and
bunch of
go,
unsolved
there'd be
rapes in pretty
nice
much all
groups
the
of young
towns
women,
that
young
he
during the period that they
backpacked
were-
across.
parts of the
Yeah.
world, and
Yeah.
other young backpackers. And then
They all had
like Baldy, he's
Lego
bad.
pieces shoved up their cunt.
lives, and
Just like Bald Bankrupt, dude. He's just a rapist.
my
Yep.
later on in my military career, I would learn about situational awareness, and I feel like I have a very good sense of street smarts. And I met this guy who arrived at this backpackers hostel.
Should have learned situational awareness like
I wouldn't
immediately.
say a disliking to him. I knew this guy was trouble. Maybe the bad
That's just knowing about your
news
surroundings.
that there
being
was
observant.
bad in this
Why would
Street
that take
smart.
years?
though, dude.
Yeah, why
You
would
could
that
go
take
into
years?
any town and
This
be
guy
able to
needs to be
find
kept
quality
at arm's
top.
length. Unfortunately,
He could go into any village in Iraq
didn't
and
realise
find a
the
woman
same
to rape.
thing. And my friend, he
He
enjoyed.
could
the
point
trip
you in the
like I
best
did.
direction for the
These
best
two-
villagers.
Over
best
the
villagers
first
to
few
rape.
days the guy was staying there. We would
get
get
really,
home
like,
quite late at night after our
Insane,
shift,
like
and this
2006
hostel had a
anti-war.
shared balcony where
Put like Rosie O'Donnell on him.
upstairs, and the balcony went all the way.
How many hundreds
around
of
the
thousands of
building,
civilians did you kill, Tony?
and all the doors into the rooms were there. So if you came out on the balcony, it wasn't your private balcony; it was shared. It
Is
was
he gonna say how
almost
he
like
got jumped?
the upstairs outdoor corridor kind of thing.
By abos.
So if you were smoking,
Yeah, the Abos that he would hunt. They came back for revenge. in
Yeah, their
Barcelona.
family members
outside, you
did.
could see anyone else from the hostel who was outside. And my friend started.
And
to
Michael
drink
Moore, yep,
outside
he was
a
another
fair
one.
bit. And I remember going into work one night, saying to him, "I was like, that guy's bad news. You really
Don't they
you
understand
wanna
that
stay
the
away from him. I
fucking
could tell that he's bad news." My mates, as he
the
always
road to
was,
oil is paved
No,
with
no, I'm
brown
all
people?
good. I can handle it. I'm all good. And then that night we got home. There was like a sun lounger outside my room.
Hell yeah.
I
Look
sat
at
on the
Tony.
This is
sun
quite
lounger.
a story. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, where? Like, what the fuck is he even talking about?
Dude, look at his. He looks fucked. He's on stuff right here.
Molly.
Yeah.
And smoked a
That's what the
split of
ketamine.
hashish. My friend started drinking vodka with this guy, and they wanted to.
My friend came out with a needle full of ketamine.
And I was kind of trying to hint to my friend as best I could that he shouldn't go, but there was no kind of telling him.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, they're going to go to the bar together, and I didn't want to go simply because of this guy.
Who is this guy? He's budget, bald, and bankrupt.
So they get changed and they leave the backpackers hostel. And I want to say 10 or 15 minutes later, I'm still sitting on this sun lounger,
Hey, Fug.
probably finishing this spliff or whatever. And my friend comes walking up the stairs and I see him stagger around the corner. And he's staggering and he's clutching his chest and blood is dripping from between his fingers. And instantly I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, Dave stabbed me. He just fucking stabbed me. Like, what's going on here? So I run over to my friend. I think
First thing I did was make sure my toys were safe.
Like, I'm gonna
Hey, get away from my toys. Get away from my
Yeah.
vintage Legos. My backpack.
to cover the wound.
Made
Just
sure
like I had my airplane
First-
set up. I didn't want him to smash on that.
First thing I made sure was that he didn't steal my King Randor, my card
Yeah.
of King
Don't
Randor.
call the all this stuff.
I bring that guy everywhere.
I'm just going to call him the assailant because I don't want to use his real name. The assailant who'd stabbed my friend.
just called him
he's from,
Dan.
Yeah, he just said his
I
name.
believe
Yeah.
North London. He was definitely a
Yeah,
Londoner.
and the guy who
And he
just
kept
stabbed another
using the word
person, you
pucker.
want to give him
And
respect.
as they were walking down the street, my friend was not really familiar with that slang term. And he's kind of turned and laughed. He's like, what's this fucking pucker word you keep saying? And that was enough for this guy to snap, turn around and stab him straight in the chest. With a knife
What?
that he didn't even know he was carrying.
For saying pucker?
That is weird. Like he said his name, Dave. Like how did they? That's
He did say his
how
name.
did they not like during editing be like, oh fuck, or like it went unnoticed twice, both during production and.
My friend's in trouble. I'm not going to call.
He's
the
made this
cops.
elaborate story, but really
Leave us
his mate tried to
I went
steal
into
his
my
toys.
room,
You know, and
Yeah.
he stabbed him
And
in the
I
heart.
can remember being sat on the end of the bed, and I'm just in a pair of shorts and nothing else. I had no shoes on, no t-shirt, and I was pulling like linen and towels or whatever it was out of the drawers. And the assailant is standing in the doorway. He's not posing any threat to me, but he seemed to be petrified of the police being called. And I didn't mean to do it. I'm sorry. All kinds of stuff. Don't call the cops.
Yeah.
I'm like, mate, just
Yeah,
leave
totally
me alone.
understandable.
All I want to do is help my friend. And as this happens, my friend came walking up behind him with the empty vodka
Shot
bottle
him in the
that
head.
he'd drank just half an hour before and smashed it over the back of his head.
Nice.
As he smashed the vodka bottle over his head, all the glass came towards me.
And my toys.
I was only in a pair of shorts, so
My vintage
shielded
figures.
my face from
Yep,
the
so I killed
glass.
both.
By the
Yeah,
time
I
got
shielded my
back up,
figures.
The assailant had turned around.
And I noticed there was a splash of vodka on my Boba Fett.
All the way up the side. He stabbed him twice in the neck.
Jesus.
What is going on here? Where
Jesus.
are
Had
we?
him like 3 meters.
Barcelona.
By the time I grabbed him by the
Or
wrist,
Europe.
controlled the knife, and
Or
I think
Europe.
I think I just fell to the ground and pulled,
None of this
used my body
actually
weight to
happened.
pull him
This is
down.
my bet. This is my real, like, my true answer.
Yep.
My final answer. None of this happened at all.
I have a moment of blackness then that I just don't remember. I don't think I was knocked unconscious. I know I was wrestling with a guy on the ground and he started banging my head against the tiled floor. But there is a moment there where I lost time because I can't imagine.
Okay,
My
what is the
whole mind
purpose
was
of the
focused on
story?
Controlling this knife.
The
now he
lead
has
up
a
to the
toy.
I had two
How the
hands
toy
controlling
came
the
to be.
knife
It
in
looks
his
like the
one hand.
toy's got a
And the
Thompson
next
submachine
moment that I
gun.
come to, my
Toy's got a
friend-
vodka bottle
Am I
and a knife.
mistaken? Why does the toy have a Thompson submachine gun? Typewriter
It's supposed to
variant
be like the original SAS, maybe.
with a Thompson typewriter, 1928 model.
Yeah, they had
Hey,
the
Mr.
they had
Blue.
the 28 at the start.
The SAS.
Yeah,
Really? We gave
Look it
them
up, ask
our
Mark.
guns. We gave them our guns.
Tasty
yeah,
cakes.
absolutely.
How's it going?
Mr. Blue, is Mr. Blue in here?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
guy
Yeah, I'm
in
here.
his room,
Ah, nice.
packing a
What's going on,
bag,
boys?
grabbing his passport and stuff.
So is this guy
NM.
alive?
I don't know. Hold on.
Missy,
Attending to my friend.
What's going on here?
I don't
This
know
guy's
how
just
I ever
packing
let
a
go of him
bag?
or how I didn't get
I mean,
What?
I'm assuming
Very
he's.
confusing. But in that moment, between my friend smashing the bottle on his head, me shielding myself
a great
from the
time, Mr.
glass,
Blue.
turning around and running
Yeah.
3 meters, he'd stabbed him 17 times,
Yeah,
all up the
he dead.
left-hand side of his body.
Yep.
I remember I started begging him. He had a mobile phone. Not many people in the early 2000s when you're backpacking have mobile phones. I was asking him for his mobile phone. He was like, nah. He took his phone, his passport. He had a small like day sack of stuff, and he locked his door and he took off. I'm then stuck on this balcony. There were some other.
He's asking
girls
for the guy's
around who
phone
freaked out
to
and
just
gone into
stab
their
some people.
rooms. And I'm now starting to do my best to try and stem the bleeding. And in Spain, you know, you have those whitewashed walls.
You're rolling
And there's
real
just
hard.
Spurts of bright red arterial blood up these walls. A vision that, you know,
I was
wake
probably
up
doing
to
more
every
damage
night
than I was
sometimes
helping.
today, and it's more than 20 years ago that this happened. So I did my best to stem the bleeding. Had blood starting to fill up in one lung, so I'm trying to remember first aid training from the military and have that lung.
So this was
down,
after
try
the
and drain it,
military?
and then
What?
No,
get
he
all
joined.
confused in these kind
He
of
only did a few
situations.
years,
I
and
thought he
then
joined
he's
the
gonna come back later.
What?
And I knew that if I ran all the way along the balcony down.
Well, you're not going to get your own toy from
I would
seeing
miss
your
the
friend
car.
get stabbed
So
to
I
death.
just turned and jumped off the balcony barefoot.
No.
An innocent young Spanish local girl driving some little buzz box of a car, and all of a sudden a guy jumps off the balcony, almost, you know, wearing nothing but a pair of shorts and covered in blood. I would have freaked her the hell out, but thank God I freaked her out enough that she called the
She
police.
just thought I was gonna rape that.
Police arrived first. I don't know how long it took. I want to say it was more than 30 minutes from the incident to when the police arrived. I'd kept him alive all that time.
No way.
But I remember him telling me, his last words to me, looked up to me, and he said he didn't want to die there on that balcony in Spain. And as I let go of his hand,
No
to let
shit.
the paramedics take over, I saw.
The zoom-ins are pretty
If you've
keynote.
ever
Yep.
seen
Look at his.
the light,
Yeah,
just
like the way his mouth just opens.
evaporate from a human being. There are physical signs. You see the pupils dilate. I felt my friend's life be extinguished that day, and it's changed the rest of my life forever.
So he's dead.
Yes.
Well, yeah. 17 times. We got 17 viewers right now. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, the ghost of Tony's friend.
All right. Well,
Will rise
we'll
again.
pause it there.
Chapter 3
General
will be discussing
Stone
another
Balls
murder he
Rock.
witnessed.
Yeah, just more murders. That's all the series is him
Who
talking murders.
Who dares wins? Okay, Iraq comes on at around almost 30 minutes. Oh, then he goes to Bangkok. All right.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
nice. There we go.
And yeah, the becoming desert rat thing is maybe 10 minutes at the end.
Yep. Big old thick ghost ropes.
thick ghost ropes.
Why did I'd be like hearing myself?
Yeah.
I heard you there for a second. Yeah, the echo.
Yeah. What the fuck was
Echo,
that?
echo, echo, echo.
I didn't hear anything.